Hello and welcome to the second part of the Scrolls Callback Deck Guide. Now, really the only reason the second part exists is because I did a bad job with the first part and failed to show off Callback in the Callback deck. That's because Callback is a very choice scroll. There are a lot of applications for it, but they're very specific applications. When you get those applications, you'll be incredibly happy that you put Callback in, but unless you get them, then it's gonna not really do much for you, so it makes sense that I didn't get a chance to show off in that video, and I definitely will in this one. Now, I don't really want to comment over an entire match, because I'm just trying to show off Callback, but I think I will use this time to go over a few things that have been, going on in the Scrolls world. So, first of all, this deck sort of started a small debate in the guild forum about the application of Callback. And a lot of things were said, like Pother would be a better substitute, Blessing of Haste would be a good substitute, lots of stuff like that. And Blinky was defending the deck pretty hard, and the problem was that Tim Fox and Sisp were trying to see this deck's potential as a tier 1 competitive deck, while Blinky was like, this is a cool fun thing that I made for Acid Jib. So there was kind of a misunderstanding. It wasn't an angry debate, it was just a pretty hefty debate. So that's why I shouldn't make videos. I'll start fights. It didn't quite develop into a fight, but who knows where that could have gone, and it's a good thing that we cleared up that this deck is not meant to be a tier 1 pro deck or anything like that. Now, another thing going on in Scrolls is that we have seen a picture shown of tower challenges and bosses. Well, just the tower challenge at the moment, but it was tweeted out by John Kagstrom. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce his name, but that's how I read it, so let's just hope it is right. And in it shows your standard game of Scrolls where the opponent has sacrificed for 1 growth and played a Ragged Wolf on turn 1. However, on the board there are Waking Stones at the front of every single one of the opponent's rows, which is kind of unfair, but that's the point. It's meant to give you a challenge, and I guess because it's a tower challenge, it will probably be a harder wall to break for every tier of the tower you progress through, which could be very interesting. Personally, I want to see more done to it to make it more interesting than just straight up walls. I don't know what they could do though, so walls is certainly a good step in that direction. The other thing mentioned is boss fights, which we don't know anything about, but maybe they'll have themed decks, maybe they'll have weird, board modifying cards that they can play, but I'm not sure what they're gonna do. But it's sounding cool. It sounds like the campaign is starting to flesh out a bit, at least. Whether the tower challenges are the main campaign with a boss at the end of the tower, or whether there is a main campaign with tower challenges unlocked as you progress. I don't know, something like that maybe. Another thing to note in that screenshot is that the scrolls are now vertical as opposed to in a fan, and they're all shoulder to shoulder. And this change is almost definitely as a response to the tablet UI needing to be much easier than the current UI. So we now have a whole new setup. I'm interested to see how they're going to deal with having 10 scrolls in hand, because it's still going to bunch the scrolls up an insane amount. It might be more copable than it was before. If you imagined the current system on a tablet, then yeah, I can totally see people having trouble. But for now, this compromise seems like it will work. I'm hoping that it doesn't need any more tweaking. Another thing to say is that there is no word as to when the tablet version of the Scrolls game will come out. Whether it will be coming out in the same time as beta. Beta will be released and so will the tablet version, or whether it's waiting for full release, or they're just going to release it as soon as they have a finished version, which could be literally any time ever. So, who knows? But for now, it seems that this version will at least work, and it's going to be really fun to be able to play with a lot more people, because you don't have to sit down and lock into a computer. You can just play on an iPad. So that's something I'm certainly looking forward to, but there is no confirmation as to when it will happen. Also need to say this because we're all broken records, and there is no release date for beta, and there is no release date for the upcoming patch. So now that's out the way, we can talk about other things. A while ago, there were a couple of Mojang events where Mojang came onto Scrolls and said, "Hey everyone, come play games with us." And I missed both of them. And they haven't done one since. And so I asked if they had any plans, and they said, Man said that they will definitely have one when they release beta, but they doubt it will happen before then. So that's pretty cool. And it's always good to hear. So the only other thing that's really gone on in Scrolls currently of note, because there's been no new spoilers, and a lot of people are dropping off just from, just like there's nothing new, and they're constantly getting beaten by Blinky's decks. So like a fair few people have been dropping off, and we're getting maybe like 8 people at most in the game. So the other thing that's been going on is the Scrolls Guide tournament, which is awesome. I'm so glad that this is a thing. It's taken a month so far to get. We're just finishing up the semi-final, then we'll be in the final. So that shouldn't. Hopefully, once we start the semi-final, it shouldn't be long until we have a finished winner. But round 1, I'm just going to run through the game. So round 1 was best of 1, and in game 1, Blinky played Dark Hunter 14, and Blinky won. In game 2, Steg 626 played Trivial Turtle, and Steg won. In game 3, Sisp played Halo Know-It-All, and Sisp won. Game 4 and 5, FOMTG and Lord Band-Aid, they both got passes to make up the numbers for the tournament. Game 6 was Cirque 6 versus me, and Cirque 6 won. Game 7 was K-Baston versus Tim Fox. Tim Fox won. Game 8 was Nyar versus Delude, and Delude won. Now we're into the quarterfinals, which was still a best of 1. And Game 9 was Blinky versus Steg 626, in which Blinky won. Game 10 was Sisp versus FOMTG, and Sisp won. Game 11 was Lord Band-Aid versus Cirque 6, and Cirque 6 won. Game 12 was Tim Fox versus Delude, and Delude won. So that was Tim Fox eliminated, surprisingly. He only made it to the quarterfinals, which is really, really surprising. I'd have thought Tim Fox would have done a lot further, but that just shows you not to underestimate Delude. He also beat Nyar, so be afraid. Then, semi-finals, these were best of 3 matches. Game 13 was Blinky versus Sisp. Sisp won, so that's Blinky eliminated also. So now it's between Sisp and Cirque, as far as the guild is concerned, as to who will be the guild champion. Sisp winning put him straight through to the final, but we haven't had our semi-final match played to determine the other finalist. And that's Game 14, which will be Cirque 6 versus Delude, and the winner of that will play Sisp. So that's pretty exciting, and I can't wait to see the end of that. It took us a month to reach this point. I'm sure that if we had more people prepared to join in at a certain time, on a certain day, for a certain amount of time, we would be able to get through a tournament like this relatively quickly. I think we could do it. We'd need to be on top of everything, though, and it could be, difficult, but I'm sure we could do it, so I'm okay with it. We'll just throw up a thread and try at some point in the future. So yeah, that's about everything that's been going on in Scrolls. Something I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start asking people for likes, but likes in inverted commas, because you can like in the comment. You can just put a comment saying, I enjoyed this. I just want to know what people are enjoying of what I do. That way I know what to make more of. For example, some of my videos don't get that many views, and so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't continue with that. That's why I haven't done any interviews with anyone since that one with Blinky. It didn't do great, so I've sort of left it. But if lots of people had commented saying they enjoyed that video, or that they'd given the video actual likes, then I would have been much more inclined to make another one. So far, the only things that I've got going that I'm going to continue with for definite are, spoilers. Anytime there's a spoiler, I'm making a video of it. That will never change. And then the learning from my mistakes, which episode 3 will be coming up shortly. It will hopefully be in 1080p, so that's great. And I would hope people are excited to see that for some reason. I'll just be playing, trying to learn from the mistakes in the previous episode, and then hopefully not make any new ones, which I probably will, so we shall see. The last thing that I want to mention is the streaming me and Blinky have been doing recently. We've done a couple of streams, and we'll probably be doing quite a fair bit more in the future. So head to twitch.tv/acidjib and hit the follow button, I think it is, so that you can get alerted whenever I do a stream. Or follow my Twitter, or Blinky's Twitter, or the Scrolls Guide Twitter, and it will be announced on one of them, or all of them, if I ever do stream. So just be aware of the places where you can learn this information, because I really would like to see quite a few people showing up to that, because it's always good to chat with you people while also playing some Scrolls. So thank you for watching this video. I'll hopefully be upping the frequency of my uploads in the next week or so. So brace yourselves for that, and I will see you next time.